Hello world, I am Citizen. This is Bible Time Capsule. Today is November 13th, 2013. We are on chapter 10 of Josue, the book of Josue, chapter 10. Let's begin there. Chapter 10, the siege of Gabaon. Now Adonisedek, king of Jerusalem, heard that in the capture and destruction of Josue had done to that city and its kings as he had done to Jericho and its kings. He heard also that the inhabitants of Gabaon had made their peace with Israel, remaining among them, and that there was a great fear abroad, because Gabaon was large enough for a royal city, larger even than the city of Hai, and all its men were brave. So Adonisedek, king of Jerusalem, sent for Oham, king of Hebron, Pharam, king of Jeremoth, Japhia, king of Lachish, and Dabir, king of Eglon, to come to his aid for an attack on Gabaon, since it had concluded peace with Josue and the Israelites. The 5 Amorrite kings of Jerusalem, Hebron, Jeremoth, Lachish, Eglon, united all their forces and marched against Gabaon, where they took up siege positions. Thereupon the men of Gabaon sent an appeal to Josue in his camp at Gilgal. Do not abandon your servants. Come up here quickly and save us, help us, because all the Amorrite kings of the mountain country have joined forces against us. Next section. Josue's victory. So Josue marched up from Gilgal with his picked troops and the rest of his soldiers. Meanwhile, the Lord said to Josue, do not fear them, for I have delivered them into your power. Not one of them will be able to withstand you. And when Josue made his surprise attack upon them, after an all-night march from Gilgal, the Lord threw them into disorder before him. The Israelites inflicted a great slaughter on them at Gabaon and pursued them down the Beth Horon slope, harassing them as far as Azekah and Masida. While they fled before Israel along the descent from Beth Horon, the Lord hurled great stones from the skies above them all the way to Azekah, killing many. More died from these hailstones than the Israelites slew with the sword. On this day, when the Lord delivered up the Amorites to the Israelites, Josue prayed to the Lord and said in the presence of Israel, stand still, O sun, at Gabaon, O moon, in the valley of Ayalon. And the sun stood still and the moon stayed, while the nation took vengeance on its foes. Is this not recorded in the book of Jashar? The sun halted in the middle of the sky. Not for a whole day did it resume its swift course. Never before or since was there a day like this, when the Lord obeyed the voice of a man, for the Lord fought for Israel. Then Josue and all Israel returned to the camp at Gilgal. Next section. Execution of the Amorrite kings. Meanwhile, the 5 kings who had fled hid in a cave at Masida. When Josue was told that the 5 kings had discovered hiding in a cave in Masida, he said, roll large stones to the mouth of the cave and post men over it to guard them. But do not remain there yourselves. Pursue your enemies and hurry them in the rear. Do not allow them to escape their cities, for the Lord, your God, has delivered them into your power. Once Josue and the Israelites had finally inflicted the last blows in this very great slaughter, and the survivors had escaped from them into the fortified cities, all the army returned safely to Josue and the camp at Masida, no man uttering a sound against the Israelites. Then Josue said, open the mouth of the cave and bring out those 5 kings to me. Obediently they brought out to him from the cave the 5 kings of Jerusalem, Hebron, Jeremoth, Lachish, and Eglon. When they had done so, Josue summons all the men of Israel and said to the commanders of the soldiers who had marched with him, come forward and put your feet on the necks of these kings. They came forward and put their feet upon their necks. Then Josue said to them, do not be afraid or dismayed, be firm and steadfast. This is what the Lord will do to all the enemies against whom you will fight. Thereupon Josue struck and killed them, and hanged them on 5 trees, where they remained hanging until evening. At sunset they were removed from the trees at the command of Josue, and cast into the cave where they had hidden. Over the mouth of the cave the large stones were placed, which remained until this very day. Next section. Conquest of southern Canaan. Maxida too Josue captured and put to the sword at that time. He fulfilled the doom on the city, on its king, and on every person in it, leaving no survivors. Thus he did to the king of Maxida what he had done to the king of Jericho. Josue then passed on with all of Israel from Maxida to Lebna, which he attacked. Lebna also, with its king, the Lord delivered into the power of Israel. He put it to the sword of every person there, leaving no survivors. Thus he did to its king what he had done to the king of Jericho. Josue next passed on with all Israel from Lebna to Lachish, where they set up a camp during the attack. The Lord delivered Lachish into the power of Israel, so that on the second day Josue captured it and put it to the sword with every person in it, just as he had done to Lebna. At that time Horam, king of Gasser, came up to help Lachish, but Josue defeated him and his people, leaving no survivors. From Lachish Josue passed on with all Israel to Eglon. Encamping near it, they attacked it and captured it in the same day, putting it to the sword. He fulfilled the doom that day on every person in it, just as he had done at Lachish. From Eglon Josue went up with all of Israel to Hebron, which they attacked and captured. They put it to the sword with its kings, all its towns, and every person there, leaving no survivors, just as Josue had done to Eglon. He fulfilled the doom on it with every person there. Then Josue and all Israel turned back to Debir and attacked it, capturing it with its kings and all its towns. They put them to the sword and fulfilled the doom on every person there, leaving no survivors. Thus was done to Debir and its kings what had been done to Hebron, as well as to Lebna and its king. Josue conquered the entire country, the mountain regions, the Negev, the foothills, and the mountain slopes, with all their kings. He left no survivors, but fulfilled the doom on all who lived there, just as the Lord, the God of Israel, had commanded. Josue conquered from Kadesh Barnea to Gaza and all the land of Goshen and Gabaon. All these kings and their lands Josue captured in a single campaign, for the Lord, the God of Israel, fought for Israel. Thereupon Josue with all Israel returned to the camp at Gilgal. That's the end of chapter 10 of the book of Josue. This is Bible Time Capsule, and I am Citizen. Peace. I'm out.